mission today about trying to clear a pathway for emergency vehicles, and then we'll start working on the major thoroughfares and the roadways. But this will come in phases, and today's, the first phase is about clearing a pathway for our firefighters and our emergency vehicles.
Yeah, because the concern today is the ice after all of that snow got packed down and compressed on area roadways. With this phase being clearing that path on major thoroughfares to get to emergency services, what is the timeline you think going forward for those other streets?
I don't know. We have our own trucks out there as well. We're contracted for these trucks that I'm told, some of them are already arriving in the parish. But we'll have our dump trucks out. We'll have our front end loaders out as well, trying to clear pathways. So again, we have all of our efforts on this today. This is our major mission today, and that's what we're asking. But, that's very critical that we're able to get emergency vehicles where they are.
And frankly,
where they get access to what they need to save lives or get to fires. So again, the message is please stay home. Give us our opportunity to do this mission. We don't want sheriff's office, having to rescue people out there, stranded cars, abandoned vehicles. So give us some time, please. And we'll get it done.
And that is to be expected on the day after we had such historic snowfall and then ice as a result here. Overall, it just seems that the headline is that we did fare well, all things considered. I mean, what would you say to that?
I think we fared well, given this was a historic event. The snow levels were much higher than we expected. We did have some water breaks, but we have water breaks on any given day. We have, an older water system that we're investing a lot in, but that's a 20-year process. So we have water breaks in certain parts of the parish anytime. But I want to thank everybody for their cooperation. We were able to get through without calling for a major boil water advisory. We're still in the midst of this. So we got through yesterday. Please, we want the message is to still try to conserve your water. Don't need to run your faucet if you're in a slab home. You don't need to do that. I don't do that. But if you're in an elevated home, yes, we would suggest you running that one faucet the furthest away from the parish line, which is the street with the intake, to run that one faucet if you're on an elevated home. But we were able to get through without major power outages, without major sewer issues, without major water breaks. But we're still in the midst of this. So we need Mother Nature to cooperate with us and make sure that we start melting this ice and this snow. And in the meantime, we're going to do everything we can to, again, clear that pathway to the hospitals first.
Most certainly. That's why the call is for people to remain at home if they can be, so that y'all can do just that. Jefferson Parish President Cynthia Lee Shang, ma'am, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. And our warming centers are still open. So Rio Center in Terrytown has about 50 people there. So remember, if something goes wrong or your heating goes out or something, come to our warming centers. Okay.
And who should you call if ultimately you have any questions about that?
You can call, if it's an emergency, obviously 911. Our emergency operation number is 504-349-5360. But the Rio Lario Center is at 6900 Saints Drive, and that at Terrytown Playground, 641 Heritage Avenue. You can just show up.
All right, ma'am. We do thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, this breaking update, since we did speak to the parish president, they had to go and issue a boil water advisory in the Chenier side of Grand Isle. It's going on from Chenier over to Rosethorn Lane, and that's because of the drop in water pressure, because they've got broken water lines there, multiple, in fact.
The Jefferson Parish Water Department says water samples are being collected. They are working to determine if the water is safe to drink, but in that meantime, people and businesses in the area, go ahead, boil your water out of a precaution before you consume it or use it for anything. Right. All over Southeast Louisiana, crews are working to get as much snow and ice off the roads as possible so we can kind of resume some normal life.
Yeah, right now parish officials continue to tell residents again to stay off those roads. Our Winston Reed joins us from Metairie by Causeway Boulevard with the latest on efforts there. Winston.
That's right. The sun is shining here in Metairie, and I'm standing on the Causeway Boulevard, and the sunlight is allowing the ice to melt. You can see the water and hear the water flowing into the drains, which is really good news because that is going to reduce the icy conditions here on the roads and allow for better conditions for drivers, hopefully. Now, the Causeway Bridge has been closed since yesterday morning because of those icy conditions, and we are told that progress has been made on the bridge. Crews have been able to get vehicles, four-wheel drive vehicles, throughout the full length of the bridge and cross it, which is really good news. And there are portions of the Causeway Bridge that are clear of ice and snow as well. But officials, they're going to keep their eyes on the overnight conditions from tonight going into tomorrow morning, because that's going to play a major role in terms of when the Causeway Bridge and other roads will be safe to drive. We're told that if the conditions are fair, then the Commission of the Causeway will reopen the bridge for emergency responders as early as tomorrow morning, and for the public, the bridge could open as early as Friday. But again, we're keeping our eyes on the overnight conditions tonight leading into tomorrow, because that's going to play a major role if the Causeway Bridge will reopen, and it will also play a role with a lot of other major roads, bridges as well. Of course, a lot of those state interstates have been closed because of the icy conditions. So that's something we're keeping our eyes on. But good news is the sun is shining on us, which means the sunlight is allowing that water to melt here on Causeway Boulevard and other parts of Jefferson Parish. Reporting live in Jefferson Parish, Winston Reed, WWL, Louisiana.
Winston, thank you for your reporting, and we also thank you for sending your pictures here as you enjoy the snow that we've had. This is a picture of a dog named Blue playing in the snow over there in Metairie.
That's so cute. I love to see the dog pics. Picture of the snow piled up against a, looks like we've got a LSU snowman there.
Yeah.
So yeah, super cute. So many photos. We appreciate all the ones you all are sending in. And there's a picture of literal the imprint of the door as it was piled up. So yeah, something you probably never thought you'd see in your doorway, and there it is.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, the same thing happened to me this morning when I opened my door. There's the imprint from overnight. Got to go dig all of that stuff out now. That's what we're all dealing with here today on this snow day that continues.
Big snow day. Guys, dig things out. I had to use my pizza pan, the little round pizza pan to dig out my balcony yesterday. So
I used the top of a pot.
Top of
lid,
a pot, like a lid.
Yeah, you use a lid.
Because we don't have shovels down here.
Right.
You know, at least not snow shovels. I don't have a regular shovel. All right, here's the deal. You can see the snow on satellite. It is incredible. This really is so similar to the 1895 storm, the path and how much snow it dumped across the area. Now, the official reading back in 1895 was at Audubon, out there by the park, about 10 inches. Now, we don't have an official measurement site there anymore. They stopped that years ago. Now our official site is out at the airport, and we didn't have the airport in 1895. So that official amount as of yesterday was 8 inches. There were higher amounts clocked. I got about 10 to 11 inches at my place in the French Quarter, pretty accurately measured, I think. And so anywhere on the South Shore where our bigger totals, that includes parts of the Bayou and the river parishes too. Now the North Shore was a little less, 4 to 7 inches, but there were a couple spots that were higher, there were a couple of that were lower. The thing that made measuring so hard for many people, well, one, they were measuring where the wind was whipping around and causing drifts, but also measuring on cement or sidewalks is not accurate because that's always warmer and you get melting, so you're actually underestimating how much snow actually fell. Measuring on grass also isn't very accurate. You've got to have that solid snowboard, that piece of wood that's on the ground. So just pretty amazing what we did see. It is a cold afternoon thanks to that snow still on the ground, but a few places have jumped above freezing. If you're in Hammond, you're above freezing at this point. Bogalusa above freezing, Mandeville too. Probably okay to stop the dripping of the faucets for a few hours, but we'll need to redo it this evening and tonight because these temperatures will plummet again, not only with clear skies and still snowpack, but calmer winds. Tonight could be just as cold as what we saw yesterday. Current feel-like temperatures with that wind, it feels even colder on the South Shore. We do still have wind chills in the 20s across the metro. It is a great afternoon to go out there and play in the snow. It's going to be a little harder and crunchier, so if you are sledding, you're going to have a little bit more of that iciness to the ground here as it starts to slowly melt over the next few days. So as we get into tonight, any moisture left over any ice still on the roads, it will refreeze into a solid sheet of ice. We do expect dangerous travel again across the area tomorrow morning, just probably some improvements on roads. But there's your South Shore in the mid-20s. North Shore expected to drop into the mid to upper teens again. And this is enough that you need to drip those faucets and have that steady stream about the size of a spaghetti noodle is what we call it. Thursday morning is cold. Friday morning we have another freeze, and we have another freeze on Saturday morning, but we'll slowly get a little warmer each day. Now, luckily tomorrow we're going to get into the 40s, so we should see some decent melting tomorrow, but with a foot of snow and even some 2-foot, 3-foot snow drifts, it's going to take a while for this stuff to melt. And if it's in the shade, if you have a street in your neighborhood that's covered by trees or covered by some taller buildings, there's going to be icy streets the rest of the week here, and that's not going to improve very quickly. The sun is the main thing that melts this snow when your temperatures in the afternoon aren't warming all that much. So there you have it. I do have a warm up. It's nothing major, but we'll be back in the 60s by this weekend, which is where we should be, and we'll have a chance for a couple of showers by the end of Sunday, going into Monday. Hey, Leah. Wait.
Hello, there's my mic. There's on. I was saying that I'm dreaming the 60s because this is just not what any of us expected to see, what we want to see on the roads. Right now, we're still luckily seeing some folks driving out. This is the look at I-12, right where it meets I-55 or the overpass looking out. You see folks are able to get out and about, but still see that snow accumulation on the sides of the roads. If the snow is there, that ice is likely present as well. So just be aware as you do make your way out and about. The North Shore, again, as I mentioned, I-12 is open, as well as 59, that's open as well. But everywhere else, all your major roads and bridges are still closed today. 55 still closed, Causeway still closed, and the Twin Span is still closed. 51 is open, Highway 11 is open as well. But nonetheless, though, we really want to reserve those for first responders as they need to get out and about to make sure everything's staying safe and help those folks who may be stranded out there on the roads who are heading out for an emergency. In the meantime, though, the Luling Bridge is still closed. The spillway is also closed. Airline Highway is really going to be that main road that I've been checking the cameras there. A lot of people taking advantage of that and taking that road because that's really the only thing that's open for you this morning. Taking a look at our race speeds. Everything is zero because everything is closed today. So again, the best thing you can do is just stay at home if you can, because you're not going to have much luck getting anywhere if you are trying to head outside right now. Here's a live look at our cameras that's looking on the West Bank Expressway today. As you can see, still have that ice presence on the road this morning. We're not expecting that to go away anytime soon. I did just speak to the folks over at DOT. They said they think it's going to be a very, very slow process clearing all of this snow and ice out. Fun fact for you, they actually shut the I-10 down all the way to the Louisiana-Texas line. That's how much snow we have all across our area. As far as our area goes, I-10 still shut down from the Platte all the way to the Slidell. So just to put that into perspective for you, all this snow that we're seeing. Stay off the Crescent City connection, stay off of the West Bank Expressway because the vast majority of it is closed. There are some efforts to go ahead and clear that out with those snow plows, but still, the bridges are closed. Huey P. Long, Lapalco, and Woodland bridges are closed. And again, that large swath of the elevated portion of the West Bank Expressway. Claiborne Avenue Bridge is also closed. So the St. Clair Bridge is going to be your best option if you are trying to get out from St. Bernard Parish. Quick check in how we're doing for our folks who are in St. Charles Parish. LA 3127, the south ramp to I-310 is closed for you. 310 at US 90 at I-10. The Hillbog Bridge is also closed for you as well. For our folks who are down in St. James, you don't have many problems. Sunshine Bridge is open. That's LA 18 and LA 70. But nonetheless, though, if you can stay inside just for one more day as that snow and ice continues to melt.
Yeah, that is the story today, Leo. And while that sun is a welcome sight, a lot of what will melt will just freeze back over overnight.
And that's the big concern because of the ice all over the roads. Authorities on the North Shore warn that today is more dangerous than yesterday, especially when it comes to driving. Mike McDaniel spoke with the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff about his concerns over the next few days.
First, just kind of run through your concerns over the next couple of days coming off of this storm.
Sure. Our biggest concern at the moment is obviously still the accumulation of snow on the ground. It's warming up today, and I just don't want our citizens to get a false self of confidence with the blue skies and sunshine. What's going to happen today, we foresee a lot of this is melting as we're speaking. Tonight, we're going to have freezing temperatures again. The snow is going to refreeze, and so it's just going to be more treacherous. And look, we're working incidents right now involving patches of ice on the road. We have some of our shaded areas that won't fall at all. and they're already frozen solid. So, we're working a couple wrecks this morning, nothing serious as far as injury wise, but nonetheless, it creates a burden for first responders if you don't have any necessary business on the street. We're just asking people to still just use good judgment and stay home.
But some folks in Hammond as well as Tangipahoa Parish have really, I guess, been on their best behavior during the storm and really paid attention to what you guys have been saying.
No, absolutely. Look, our citizens have been great. There were some of our neighboring parishes that imposed a curfew last night. We certainly did look at that option, but I felt it was unnecessary. I'm not a big fan of curfews unless they're totally necessary, because it's just like you just don't want to cry wolf too many times. And so, and by and large, people do use their better judgment. We have a few. There was one incident yesterday evening where a vehicle left the roadway, impacted a utility pole, and left a couple thousand people without power for several hours. And so just, it's not just that one individual. It can have far-reaching effects. So again, my main message is, the roads are still dangerous. There's still patches of ice, and will be for the next probably 24 to 36 hours at least. And, the word is, if you don't have business on the road, just please stay home and let's ride this out.
Schools in Tangipahoa Parish will stay closed tomorrow and pick back up Friday. There are also 4 warming shelters across the parish for anyone who needs a warm place to stay.
Frozen pipes still a concern as we see those freezing temperatures into tonight. It might be hard to tell the condition of your pipes right now, though, with everything frozen outside, but you will notice your water pressure is lower than usual. That's all around, says the CEO of Rooterman, Ronnie Lavenia. She says that there are a few things that you can do.
The main thing you could do is, if you notice or you believe you have something that's broken, is shut the water off to the house and make sure you open some of the faucets so that you relieve the pressure on the pipe as they do start to thaw out. That's the most important thing you can do right now.
Now, Ms. Lavenia also says that your pipes might be frozen, and that includes like bulging you might notice, or some visible frost there. So just keep your eyes glued to what's going on there at your home. And meantime, in New Orleans, crews were already at work very early this morning, doing all they could do to clear off those essential roadways.
They have been busy.
Yes, they
Our
have.
Eleanor Tabone was there bright and early at the Norman C. Francis overpass.
We are on the Norman C. Francis Bridge. All of this snow remains following yesterday's historic snow event. Now, I-10 is still closed, and this is why. It's completely covered with snow. Now, we'll remain closed until we get the go-ahead. We have seen some DOTD vehicles passing by, but right now, it remains barren. We also drove past NOP's First District. It's got to be very important that all first responders have clear way to get to and from emergencies. That includes the hospital. LCMC says all clinics and urgent cares will be closed and elective procedures will be cancelled today. All hospital emergency rooms, however, remain open. A reminder, I-10 is still closed, and you can see why. Like I said, so much snow remains on the major interstate. That's why it's barren. To find out what other roads are closed, you can head to the WWL-TV website or download the app. In New Orleans, Eleanor Tabone, WWL, Louisiana.
All right, Eleanor, thanks so much for that. We love all the photos you've been sending in to us. It's funny to see the dogs, because some are like, okay, I'm loving this. What is this? Others are like, absolutely not. I feel like Buddy here is one of them, sitting there in his little coat, dealing with the snow.
Right, exactly. It's like, but look at these two all smiles here. Our big man here standing next to the snowman that he built.
Adorable.
Yeah, very much so.
I love to see that. And then how gorgeous is this? A picture of snow on Magazine Street, looking mostly untouched there. So I bet that was just gorgeous to see.
We do certainly love your photos. Keep them coming as we continue to cover this historic event here in southeastern Louisiana. We're done for now, but we're back at 5.
See you then. Be safe.